We hated each other at the company until the elevator broke down and one kiss changed everything, though if someone had told me a week earlier that I would someday look at Arav Mehta and feel anything other than irritation, I would have laughed in their face, because Arav was the kind of coworker who always got under my skin with his infuriating confidence, his perfectly timed sarcasm, and that annoying habit of correcting my reports even when I didn't ask, and I, in return, made sure he knew exactly how little I appreciated his interference, firing back with every sharp comment I could craft and rolling my eyes whenever he opened his mouth, so everyone in the office knew we were like flint and steel, always one strike away from a spark that could burn the entire place down. And honestly, maybe that was why fate or the building's terrible maintenance decided to trap us together that evening when the elevator lurched, groaned like a dying machine, and stopped with a violent jolt that sent my files flying and landed me awkwardly against Arav's chest, making both of us freeze, because physical proximity between us was unheard of, practically illegal in our unspoken rules of mutual dislike, but the emergency lights flickered on, leaving us in a dim red glow that made everything feel stranger, smaller, and more intimate than either of us was prepared for. So I scrambled back, muttering something about personal space, and he made a snide comment about how even elevators got tired of dealing with me, which led to our usual bickering, though this time it ricocheted differently, as if the confined space refused to let our anger escape and instead pushed it back at us, forcing us to confront something deeper beneath all the irritation, and eventually we fell into a heavy silence, each sitting on opposite sides of the elevator floor like kids punished for fighting, except the quiet wasn't comfortable. It buzzed with unsaid thoughts and the faint hum of the emergency power, and after what felt like an hour but was probably 10 minutes, Arav sighed, rubbing the back of his neck in a rare moment of vulnerability, and said, "You know, I don't actually hate you," which shocked me more than the elevator stopping because the world's most annoying man had just admitted something resembling softness, and I didn't know how to respond except with honesty I didn't know I had. "I don't hate you either, you just get on my nerves," and he laughed softly, not his usual mocking laugh but something warmer, almost shy, and maybe it was the dim lighting or the lack of escape or the fact that tension had been building between us for months in ways I never allowed myself to name, but suddenly he didn't seem like the enemy anymore, and the way he looked at me, really looked, made my heartbeat trip over itself. And then the elevator shook again, not enough to fix anything but enough to throw me off balance, and Arav grabbed my arms on instinct to steady me, and that stupid, simple touch melted something inside my chest I didn't know was frozen, because his hands were warm, his eyes were closer than they had ever been, and his breath brushed my cheek in a way that made my thoughts short-circuit, and I should have stepped back, I should have said something sarcastic, something cutting, something normal for us, but instead I found myself leaning in just a fraction, and he noticed because his grip tightened almost imperceptibly, and he whispered my name like it meant something fragile, something dangerous, and something wanted, and in that suspended second between fear and desire, I kissed him. Or maybe he kissed me, or maybe we met halfway in a moment that felt inevitable even though neither of us would have admitted that an hour earlier, but the kiss wasn't angry or rushed like our arguments. It was slow, tentative, full of the hesitation of two people who weren't supposed to cross this line but already knew they would never go back, and the elevator felt smaller, warmer, safer, like the world had narrowed to just his breath against mine and the way his fingers slid to the sides of my face as if memorizing it, and when we finally pulled apart, the silence that followed wasn't heavy anymore. It was full of something electric, something hopeful, something terrifying in the best way, and we sat there breathing the same air, staring at each other with the stunned recognition that we had just rewritten everything between us. So when the elevator finally jerked back to life and the doors slid open to reveal the concerned faces of security and maintenance staff, we jumped apart instinctively, but our eyes kept darting toward each other, unable to erase what had just happened, and the next morning at the office everyone watched us carefully, waiting for the usual battlefield dynamic, but instead there was this quiet, charged politeness that neither of us could hide. And later when we found ourselves alone in the conference room to discuss a project, Arav closed the door slowly, gave me that small, vulnerable smile again, and said, "So, about last night," and that was how the war ended, not with a ceasefire, but with an elevator, a breakdown, and one kiss that turned enemies into something neither of us had the words for yet but both of us were already falling into willingly.